Hello everyone, and welcome to the Classic Goldbound Challenge, Mists of Pandaria Edition. In this new series, we follow Picklocked, a troll rogue who cannot leave his starting zone until he earns enough gold to buy his very first heirloom. The goal is clear, 1250 gold, earned entirely through farming and selling. I'm bound to a single zone until I reach the gold threshold. All items must come from questing or looting. I can sell goods at the auction house, but not buy from there. Only after reaching the required gold amount, I can unlock the next neighboring zone and continue my journey. Our adventure begins in Zenjin village, located in Durotar. Right from the start, you can feel the difference compared to the old classic starting areas. The quests flow more smoothly, the enemies feel less threatening, and your character simply starts out stronger. It's not that the vanilla starting zones were ever really difficult or anything, but here in Mists of Pandaria, everything is noticeably more forgiving. I have to admit, it feels unusual, but also quite pleasant. After spending so much time in Classic, this more modern design is actually refreshing. Thanks to private servers and the Classic release back in 2019, vanilla content has been very present in my memory. Mists of Pandaria, on the other hand, feels distant and almost new again, which makes this challenge especially exciting. One of the first quests already gave me a familiar drop, barnacle clams with clam meat. This could already be a potential early farming spot, depending on the market prices. These little discoveries are exactly what makes a challenge like this enjoyable. Before long, I was rewarded with my first 2 bags. It's a good example of how post-cataclysm design can feel like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, getting early bags and automatic class skills is undeniably convenient. On the other hand, it takes away a bit of the sense of achievement you had when every small upgrade had to be earned. At least we can all agree that with the updated graphics, Durotar looks fantastic. I picked up fishing, started checking for potentially valuable recipes, but unfortunately had no luck. Before continuing with the main quests, I made a quick trip to Razor Hill to learn my professions. This time I went with mining and skinning. Herbalism might have been more profitable, but I already used that one in vanilla, and I was a little bit exhausted from this combination. I also found my first chest and was really surprised at how much damage you actually do in this version of the game. I also bought a recipe for Scorpid Surprise from a vendor, hoping it would sell well on the auction house. I planned to visit Orgrimmar anyway, to take an early look at the economy and maybe pick up a few extra bags from the vendor. The recipe was being listed for around 7 gold, which sounded promising at first, but I had my doubts. Unlike the rare recipes in vanilla, this one is always available, which usually drives the price down quickly. With my Auctionator add-on updated and the first market checks complete, I was cautiously optimistic about reaching my goal. Still, as I would learn soon, selling things would not be as easy as the prices suggested. Before heading back, I also picked up the battle pet skill. Maybe catching and selling pets later could become a side source of income. Back in Durotar, it was time for more questing. Killing sea elementals, mining copper veins, and slowly filling my bags with goods to sell. One thing I noticed was that certain drops that used to come from higher level enemies in vanilla are already appearing in these lower levels. Along with the clams, I was finding crawler meat and raptor eggs, for example. Whether these items would still sell for as much as in vanilla was a bit uncertain, since profession leveling has been made easier over the years. So maybe there wouldn't be any use for them. With some early gold in hand, I treated myself to 2 more bags and smelted part of my ore in 2 bars. Not long after that, I reached level 10. On a small rare hunt, I encountered Captain Flattusk, who dropped another bag. In vanilla, that would have been a huge moment, but here it feels almost routine. Next came a harpy quest that gave me strong flashbacks to the other series I'm currently doing on vanilla Goldbound. Back in Classic, light feathers were in high demand for spells. I collected a few out of habit, but a quick check at the auction house crushed my hopes immediately. Light feathers are practically worthless in Mists of Pandaria. To create more opportunities, I learned cooking and unlocked the daily cooking quests. It's unclear how profitable these will be, but at least they provide a steady experience and a chance for small rewards. I also wanted to try out archaeology, but that profession only becomes available at level 20. Between pet battles, dailies, mining and event quests, I was confident I'd reach that point eventually. And speaking of level 20, I was already looking forward to riding for faster travel and farming. My first cooking daily rewarded me with cacao beans, which were listed for about 1 gold each at the auction house. All of the recipes were bound to pick up, so only the beans and some of the meat could actually be sold. And potentially be sold, as I would learn. A short detour to the Brewfest provided a welcome change of scenery. Maybe one of the pet rewards could be sold for a nice profit later. A bet paddle quest gave me a small free gold payout, nothing major, but every bit counts. Especially since I wanted to upgrade my bags eventually or had to pay fees for the auction house, for example. While looting some gear, I eventually saw the message, "You haven't collected this appearance," and remembered that transmogrification is a thing in this version of the game. That opened up new possibilities. Completionists and collectors often pay surprising amounts for rare appearances. In the original Goldbound series by patheralix, transmog farming was an important part of the gold making strategy, so I began searching for more rares. Fellweaver Scorn dropped the green belt. Captain Flattusk reappeared with yet another bag, and eventually I tracked down Geolord Model, who rewarded me with a black pouch and a green Bew EX from a nearby chest. Sadly, a quick auction house check brought me back to reality. The supposedly valuable imbued stash was worth only about 2 gold. Well, I did not want to get too discouraged at this point, since I also checked for other items and, well, there was a potential selling point here. Using the gold from dailies and some of the linen sales, I invested in engineering supplies that Auctionator claimed would sell well. Still, given my recent sales history, I remained cautious. The rest of my gold went into better bags, including a 20-slot mining bag, since mining had proven to be my most reliable source of income. Soon after, the rare hunt continued. I killed Geolord Model again, and then the Death Flayer, who dropped a decent cloak, but not real profit in terms of gold. One highlight was a fine scimitar from a random quillbore, a weapon Auctionator marked as very desirable for transmog. I listed it on the auction house and hoped for the best. The Burning Blade Caves turned out to be excellent farming territory, full of ore nodes and plenty of linen cloth from the mobs. Switching between the 2 caves proved to be very efficient. Meanwhile, I kept doing daily quests for extra experience and rewards. I got a really nice blue fishing pole from one of the fishing dailies, but unfortunately it's bound on pickup, so I had no way of selling this. The crate of tasty meat from the cooking dailies didn't yield much of value, unfortunately, but every small gain helps. At this time I considered changing professions, but herbalism alone wasn't nearly as profitable, and any other combination would mean giving up mining, which remained my top earner. I kept participating in the Brewfest event to eventually buy the blue pet, and also kept mining copper, ran another dungeon for extra experience and some solid gear, and prepared for the final push towards level 20. To get those final experience points, I soloed Ragefire Chasm for a bit, and even discovered a small glitch with the first boss. You can trick him into repeating using his fire breath ability, which deals very little damage if you keep your distance, and with that I was able to reach level 20 very fast. After completing my final Brewfest daily and collecting enough prize tokens, I bought the pint-sized pink pachyderm. I hope this is the right way of spelling this. And after roughly 12 hours of /played and putting up the pet in the auction house for sale, it was finally time for my first big mailbox check. Throughout the week, I had constantly reposted unsold items, hoping to slowly build up my earnings. The result was better than I expected. The scimitar alone sold for a remarkable 330 gold, and copper ore and bars were also really strong sellers. With this promising first milestone achieved, I'm looking forward to the next episode. Next time, I plan to learn riding, unlock archaeology, and perhaps earn enough gold to break free of Durotar. I hope you join me in the small side quest with Picklocked. Let me know what zone we should unlock after we finish Durotar. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.